I'm Kelly Carter, and this is Another Act. Gina, welcome back to the show.
Yes, thank you.
Look, I don't even want to pretend that you don't know how much I absolutely love this movie. It has to feel really good to get the kind of reception that you've been getting from this film in particular. Tell me about that.
I'll be with you. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's what you dream of as an artist. You want your film to have an impact. It feels like a culmination of so many beautiful things in terms of my career and being prepared for this moment. Everything I've wanted to do with the films, all the fight I've been doing for the last 25 years, this film feels like a miracle still. But to be here, to be with a film I'm so proud of, to be with a group of actors who are so passionate and so proud as well and understand the moment, it's been pretty incredible.
I love that word incredible. When I look back over the course of your career so far, producer, writer, director, the through line is always Black women. I'm sure the answer is obvious, but why Black women? Why, for you as a filmmaker, do you always make sure your projects involve us or center around us?
I think honestly, it's as simple as I'm my first audience and I write and direct what I want to see, and I want to see us.
This community of women have largely been invisible in Hollywood. Why do you think that is?
I reference this quote all the time because it speaks to that question. It speaks to my work. It speaks to my why. Malcolm X, back in the 60s, said, in America, the most unprotected, the most disrespected, the most neglected person is the Black woman. And I feel that that is still apropos today. It is really, it can be soul crushing at times to feel that invisibility, to feel that unprotection. And it's so important to be in the fight in the way I am, in the way Viola is, in the way that this group of actors and their bodies of work speak to us putting ourselves up in front, the visibility of us, the type of roles that they take, the type of roles that I write to put up on screen, of Black women that I hope inspire us, but also give us characters that we can aspire to be. This movie, no doubt, to put us in a heroic light, to put us as warriors, these real life warriors, to show that we have this innate warrior within us, that we were so greatly respected and had a voice and an autonomy and a sisterhood. I want that to just be ingrained in all of us, and so that we leave the theater and we know that is in us. We come from warriors and we are special.
That's the first thing that I think I loved immediately about The Woman King, just the undeniable presence of Black women. Talk to me about that imagery.
I think it's why I love the trailer that dropped so much, and I haven't always loved the trailers that came from my films, and the poster, especially the one with the 5 images. I look at, well, one, I can't not look at it. Like, your eye goes to it, and the beautiful colors as well. It's a beautiful shot of us, and they just look fierce and cool and incredible swagger and beautiful. And it's, as you said, it's everywhere. It's like, it just makes you feel good.
It does. Did it surprise you that a film like this could get made right now?
As I said, it's a miracle, even in this moment. This film is a miracle. I mean, I will say, absolutely, Black Panther opened the door for this film. Black Panther changed the game in Hollywood, proved, which we've always known, but proved our worth and value as an audience, proved that audiences will come and see Black folks up on screen. It's like we have to continually prove ourselves. But it was a game changer. This was being developed prior to Black Panther, but it was nowhere near a green light until Black Panther. And then even then it took a couple more years to get to where we are. And then in getting the green light, then there's still fights. And then throughout the process, there's fights. And then at the end, in terms of my vision and what I want up on screen and what is important to me as a filmmaker that has to be in the movie. Even if you may not fully understand it, it's going to be in the movie because this is my vision as a Black woman, what is important to put up on screen and put into the world.
Yeah. I love that you referenced Panther because obviously that film forced us to say, oh, okay, a predominantly Black film can do well in overseas markets. But now with The Woman King, we were asking people to pay attention to a predominantly Black female film. What do you think that will communicate to Hollywood?
It will be another game changer. We have to keep changing the game. That's the reality. We need people to see our value. It's simply as that. We see it, but we have to come out and show that. And we know we lead culture. You know, when we come out and say this is kick-ass, everybody follows. So, yeah, but to have, as you said, Black women are in the forefront of this. There's no white savior. You know, John Boyega is amazing in this movie. He's our King Gizzo, but this is these women's story. It will say a lot to Hollywood.
Yeah. What was it like making this film? Did you feel any particular pressure because of that?
It was twofold. The pressure is enormous on every film. Success begets success. You get to keep making movies if you have success. This film in particular, the demands on it, the fight to get it made, the fights that we knew that were coming in terms of putting into the world. How do you put it in the world? How are people going to accept it? It had to be a good movie. And then more so than anything is this group of women from Viola to Lashana, Tuso, Sheila, Adrian, Masali. They believed in my vision and trusted me 100%. And that is an incredible pressure, almost more so in me having an experience with an actor who did not respect the talent. And so for me, it was, okay, I'm gonna prove you wrong. This was, I need to come through because they believe in me so much. It's an incredible feeling, but also you cannot fail in that respect because all the hard work these women put in, and when you see the film and understand that's all them, whether it be the fighting, the stunts, the dancing, that is the work that they put in, their belief in it. I cannot fail them.
And you did not fail them. This film, and I cannot say this enough, is perfect. Every frame, every character, though I have to say, Lashana Lynch, my God, you have to say her name twice.
Yes.
When did you feel that you had something special with this film? What was the thing that made you say, this might resonate the way I hope it resonates and cuts across?
There were a couple hints, but I will start with, you don't know until you put the film together. I know what I was feeling on set, and I knew these performances, nothing else. If I was messing up everything else, I knew the performances were fired because I'm 2-3 feet from Viola and Tuso in the baths, and I'm feeling it. Or Izogi, every scene, I was feeling it, and that's an amazing thing to do. But again, what if I put it all together and it's just a series of cool scenes, but there's no cohesiveness? So it's hella scary when, foremost, I had Tara Lynn Shropshire, who has edited everything since Love and Basketball. She is my first audience. And there were days where, this was a tough shoot. It was the toughest shoot of my career. And some of the end of the days when I'm rushing, trying to get it, her talking to her at the end of the day and her reassuring me, what you're shooting is really good and we haven't seen this before, and keep doing what you're doing, was an absolute lifeline for me during the shoot. And then it was my husband, Reggie Rock, when he watched it. And what he said was like, really? Yeah, he said it was the best film he'd ever seen. And that was like, what? That was huge for me.
I love that. Someone asked me the other day if The Woman King is a Black film, And I paused. I didn't know how to answer that immediately. And I'm curious what your answer to that question would have been.
You know what? That isn't, it is, it's also a historical epic action drama. Like, that's how I describe it. Um, and my only hesitation is, of course, look at my body of work. Like, I make films for us, but it's also my fight in Hollywood to put us in every genre, because Hollywood will say, if they call Woman King this is a Black film, then they'll say, we made our one Black film and we're good for the year, you know. And the same with Universal and Nope. Oh, that's not sci-fi, that's a Black film. So yes, it is, but also it's a historical epic action drama.
And I was hoping that you answered it in that way, because that's why it gave me pause. It really reminded me of the way that we have traditionally classified films in this industry, which is the same way that we've traditionally classified music. Are we at a place now where we need to really get past where we define films like that?
No, what it does is, for Hollywood, it limits who they believe the audience is. And when you say it's a historical epic action drama, that's for everyone. If you say it's sci-fi, like Nope, that's for everyone. When you say it's a love story, that's for everyone. When you say it's a Black film, suddenly Hollywood says, oh, well, then we're only going to market to them, because that's all who is going to want to see it. Where, again, when I say I want us in every genre, yeah, you're going to a historical epic and you're watching these incredible Black female and John. We always say that, females and John. But you're watching that and invested in that in the same way that I'm invested in The Notebook, you know, or Braveheart. Like, I'm just going to watch this and I'm invested. So I think that that's the only danger because of the way Hollywood works.
Yeah, it's early in, obviously, but how did The Woman King change the way that you're going to operate moving forward?
I will say two things. I have fought for my vision on every single film that I've done. There's been some moment in every movie that I've had to lay my body in front of a film. This was no different. But after, this is my sixth film, and what this has become, and me having to trust myself, like, I don't feel like I'm going to ever question my vision again. It's tough when you can be so clear and have all the swag in the world, but when there's a nonstop drum beat, it's hard not to sometimes let it seep in. And at this point now, it's not going to seep in. I trust my vision. That's all you have as a filmmaker, is your vision, and then you create a group of people to help you realize that vision. And then the other thing is, and I learned it from Viola, and I learned it from the actors, and I learned it from this film. I talk about vulnerability a lot in terms of not being able to show it. Certainly, as an athlete, like, no, you don't show it. So that's been ingrained in me. Then as a female director and a Black female director, no, you don't show vulnerability ever, no weakness. And in this process, like, part of our story was vulnerability is a strength for these women, part of the storytelling. And me as a director, it is what connected me with Viola in our first meeting, me showing vulnerability that in the moment horrified me. I was like, why is this happening? But it was so, my connection to this material was so guttural. Like I've said, like, I cried in the meeting and I was so pissed off, and I left thinking I f***ed up. And she said that's why I got the job, that she trusted that I was someone who cared that deeply and was willing to show that vulnerability. She could trust me as a director, and that kind of rocked me a bit. And then hearing that from Lashana and Sheila, it's like, oh, this thing that's been ingrained in me. And again, I'm not gonna be crying on set, but that I can show more.
Yeah, no, I love that you shared that with me. Thank you. You know, there's a post-credit in this film, which I love for a number of reasons, chiefly because we only get to see post-credits in like these superhero films And to me, that's what these women are. They're heroines or superheroes, but there also felt like there was this contemporary connection in this film, in this post-credit scene with the deaths of Black women now, mirrored with the deaths of Black people in this time period. Am I overthinking it, or was that intentional from you?
You are so spot on, and it means everything. It was absolutely my message to us and our connection from the past to the present, and honoring. It's say her name. It's honoring all of the Black women who died in the struggle, who have died recently, and going back to that Malcolm X quote, not getting the respect or protection that we deserve. That is a call out to us.
Oh, I loved it. And I thought, I hope that people, in their haste to get out of the movie theater and go run and tell everybody they can about this film, that they didn't miss that. Because to me, that's one of the most important scenes in that film. I think there are a lot of important scenes in The Woman King. But speaking of scenes, is there one that haunts you still?
The scene in the baths. I remember shooting that. I was so tight that day. So tight, because I needed to get it right. I knew what the characters were feeling in that moment. I knew what the actors were feeling in that moment. God, that was a tough one, and I felt like we were running out of time, as we were doing every day. I was like, I'm not rushing this. I'm not messing this scene up. This scene has been like on my wall for so long of, oh, this is the day to shoot this. Yeah, but now I watch it, I still am holding my breath every time I watch the scene. But that one was a big deal that day to shoot that.
So the last time you were on the show 2 years ago, I asked you what was next for you, and it obviously was The Woman King, even though you couldn't talk about it back then. So my God, Gina, what's next for you? What are you working on right now?
This one's good. It makes me laugh because I remember that conversation. I was like, I can't say anything.
Yeah, I think what you said was something like, I can't say, but it's big.
And a miracle. I think I said it was a miracle as well. It's a strange thing because it's true. I feel like all my work up until this point led me to this, and to be able to do this. And this experience was extraordinary in both the levels of how hard it was, the fight, but also the joy and the connectivity that we all felt being on the continent, telling the story of the ancestors, the connection of these actors together, my connection with them. It was so deep, and it was so amazing to every day go on set and look around and see us like this. So how do you like, what is next? But I will say, I think after doing The Old Guard and The Woman King, the bigness of both, which is where I absolutely wanted to go, I'm actually craving writing. I have a story that's been in my head for 3 years, a personal story. I think it might be another genre that we haven't been in, that I have an opportunity to put us in. That's another big one. So I'm deciding between those two things.
I love that. Well, whatever's coming, I know it's going to be good because you are who you are, and you obviously have loved us the entirety of your career, and that shows up in the work that you've done. So bravo on that, Gina. I hope that you're enjoying every last flower that you're getting right now, because you more than deserve it. You truly do.
I'm stumbling because it's not about personal success at all on this one. I need success for us and what this would say, because I know how people feel when they see it. I know that the joy that people feel when they see it, they just have to see it and what it will mean for the industry. And the thing is, that's not a reason to see a movie. I mean, can be, but it's not. I want you to see the movie because it's a hell of a ride, and I hope you're going to leave changed. That's what I believe for it. I want success for all of us.
I was like, woo. I had to use some expletives to explain to you how I felt about this movie. That said, I know how this industry defines success, obviously in box office totals, but what does success look like for you with regard to this film? What's the big victory for you?
Well, can I say one thing about that? It is, because I've heard it from them, it was the trust. And the thing I'm most proud of is when they say that this is the first time that they felt completely heard and valued. And when you do that, when you give us that, look at what we can do.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Well, I love it. I love you, and you have done it again. Gina, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I always appreciate it.
Always, Kelly. Thank you.